Welcome to my beaded ginger jar presentation. In the spice trade, the ginger jars were containers that people kept spices in and transported spices in and other valuables like that. And nowadays, they're quite the collectible object, and you can find them in all kinds of variations on the shapes and sizes and such. I kind of like this proportion here, but I think it needed a little bit of modernizing. I added beads to it, which with ash, the wood I'm using, it's got a lot of grain feature to it, and so the beads add some drama to the figure of the ash. I did up a plan for the project like this. Plus, I also have one for the rough out. Because what I'm going to be doing is starting with wood that is not completely dry. And anytime we're making something this large, it's really hard to get a solid, dry piece with no cracks, as we all know. So I'm planning roughing it out and then finish turning it after it's dry. So this is my beaded ginger jar. It's got beads that are bigger in the center and then smaller and smaller as it gets to the smaller diameter. And the lid is screwed on with a bronze threaded insert. And I put a few beads on the bottom as well. So this is what I'm after. I would like to talk a little bit about hollowing and some of the philosophies behind hollowing systems and how they work. First of all, if you're new to hollowing, this project is perfect because I can use wood that I found in the neighborhood that is forgiving to turn. And I'm not going to try to turn something that has knots, cracks, voids, or any of that, because easier hollowing without any of those features. And the opening is fairly large, so I don't have the hollowing scenario of having to reach way around the corner for either the measuring or the hollowing. So the parts to a hollowing system consist of a holder, a bar, and a cutter. And the holder might just be a straight handle. And this one has got a straight handle as the holder. The bar is that question mark shaped steel rod that holds the cutter, which is that little tip there. This is Steve Sinner's system, which is a captured system. It has a window at the back that holds the end of the holder. The holder also rests on a tool rest up near the vessel, and the bar is in that with a cutter inside the vessel. And this also shows what a laser measuring system looks like. It's got a laser pointer mounted above the cutter. This is an articulated system. This is the Trent Bosch system that I'll be using today when I have something like this cantilevered system or a window type system. It gives me a lot of mechanical advantage stabilizing the cutter from the torque and the pitch of the cutting of the wood. When I'm just holding it in a handle by hand, every bit of the wood pushing down on the tool is transmitted right into my body. These captured systems take all of that load off of me. So here's a selection of bars that I have accumulated over the years. The bars can have different shapes to get into different shapes of vessel, different configurations of vessel. Cutters, now they can be any number of things. Carbide cup cutters, You can put a carbide on the Lyle Jameson system in that swivel assembly. I typically prefer the high-speed steel square cutter. And another option for finishing the inside of the vessel is these kind of teardrop scrapers, which can have one bevel or two. I mentioned at the beginning that one of the things I did for this ginger jar design was I tried to make the details a little more modern and elegant. And one of the features I changed was, if you look at a traditional ginger jar, you see this little rise at the top of the vessel being an abrupt transition here and then a straight rise. And I'm putting a little bit of a curve to it. I think that changes the vessel's design just a subtle bit and in a big way. To use this tool, I'm going to put it on the tool rest with the flute down. If I just push in right on that center line, I'm going to make a bead. I'm rocking side to side, and what that does is it cuts on one side of the bead, and then the other, and then the other, and then the other. And I'm putting very little pressure on because I'm feeling it, where if I press hard, it's chattering, and I won't get a real smooth bead. These are two ways that I like to cut beads. My favorite way is the way I do it on a finial with a spindle gouge. And I'll be starting with a little touch and a V-groove cut. One cut on one side, two identical sized cuts on the other side, and then two on the first side, and two cuts on each side until I have a V that's as deep as I want. Now I have the center of the beads, and I'm going to roll them the way I do on a spindle, which is contact the heel, raise the handle till I get a chip, make a soft entry, and raise the handle, roll the tool so the flute's closed in the bottom of the bead. And I like to start with a V-groove between my beads because the end of a bead cut is basically a V-groove, the bottom of a V-groove. When the laser falls off the top of the bead, I'm at my place. And this is where I already did it with that hook tool. And there we're starting out to where my laser is set for. It's a little confusing to watch when there are beads, because the beads kind of mess up your perception of the laser. Okay, now I'm working in an area that I don't really have my laser set for. I got to reset it. So let's show again what it looks like with beads. The laser bounces off of them, and you see it disappear and reappear. And what I look for is when it disappears for good, I feel like I'm at the place I need to be. Our beaded ginger jar is all done, and it was a success. It's an awesome piece. Thank you all so much for joining me for this, and I hope I've inspired you to try this. Try beads, try a hollow form with a lid. Try threaded inserts.